Hi everyone, it's Jay Egersdorff here, previewing season 18-19 of the FPL. How fast has that come round? It only seems a few minutes ago since it was game week 38 and we're all getting ready for that last day of the season back in May. So I hope you've all enjoyed the World Cup and had a good summer break, and you're all looking forward to this new FPL season, which is right around the corner. I actually sat down to write the preview for game week 1 of this season, and it's actually really difficult. And that's because the deadline day, the transfer deadline day, ends it's probably about 24 hours before the start of game week 1. And that means us FPL managers are going to really need to be tinkering with our teams right until the last second. So if you've got a busy day on that Thursday and that Friday before game week 1 begins, then you need to cancel your plans, because otherwise you're going to find yourself in a bit of a tricky situation when the season begins. So as a result of that, it's actually quite difficult for me to run these videos in the format that I normally do. I normally talk about what I think's perhaps going to happen that weekend, or maybe some of the teams or the players to look out for. So I thought what I'd do this time round is perhaps analyse some of the teams from an FPL perspective, because just because a team doesn't do very well collectively, and maybe they finish towards the bottom of the league, it doesn't mean that within those teams there's not some brilliant FPL options for us managers. So I'm going to start with the teams that I think are going to improve on their position from last year, and I'm going to explain some of the reasons why. So these are the teams that I think are going to start getting good results, and when teams get good results, then their players get good results and good point scores, and that's what it's all about for us FPL managers. So I'm really excited about Arsenal this season. I think they've got a new manager, obviously. I think that's something they've needed for a number of years. It's all about a fresh start for Arsenal. I think the person they've hired, from what I've read about him, comes with a lot of pedigree and a lot of credibility. So I think he's really going to engage and galvanise those players. I think they've made some pretty good new signings. They've added in areas where I think they needed strengthening. Obviously, got rid of players, people like Wiltshire. So whether or not that proves to be the right decision, at the same time, it just shows that manager's stamping his own authority on that team and making it his own. And I think Arsenal are going to have a good year. Likewise, similar sort of situation at Everton. I think Marco Silva, I should say, somebody that they've courted for a long time, and I'm thinking he's going to go in there and do a good job. I've always quite liked him. He was a bit of an unknown when he went to Hull a few years ago, and he really got them playing quite well and was rather unlucky not to keep them up. And we all saw, of course, what he did with Watford in a short space of time last year as well. Likewise, I think Southampton and I think West Ham seems to have recruited really wisely to me. And with Southampton, I think they've got enough quality in their squad to still maybe be in the bottom half of the table, but I don't think they're going to be languishing around the relegation zone like they were last year. As we know, I'm a Blackburn fan, and I've always got a soft spot for Mark Hughes and what he's all about, and he's got a really good backroom staff. So I think he'll make his mark over the summer, and I think they'll do okay. I think from an FPL point of view, there's always a lot of value in new teams, so promoted teams. So it doesn't mean to say that I think Cardiff and Fulham in particular are going to set the heather alight, but I do think that they might have some good FPL prospects amongst their ranks. Cardiff are notoriously, or Neil Warnock, I should say, their manager is notoriously negative as a manager. I think they might have some good defensive options in there. I think Fulham, of course, just signed Schürrle, who's a quality World Cup winning, Premiership winning addition to their squad. I think they might have some nice flair players that could be some good options in the FPL. And Wolves, of course, we all know about the quality that Wolves have. They've signed two really good Portugal internationals in Patricio and João Moutinho. So adding to their quality even more, and I think they're going to take the league by storm compared to usual promoted clubs, and I think they're going to have a great year. So who do I think might struggle? Well, I think you look at Bournemouth and you look at Huddersfield, I think they really lack quality in their squads. If you compare them to say, Wolves, for example, I think they're going to find it quite tough, and I'm not seeing many fancy FPL bargains in there. Two of the big teams that have surprised me that haven't really strengthened Chelsea and Spurs. And unless they do strengthen, Pochettino's come out and said, we've had 5 first-team players sign new contracts. This is brilliant. This is like having 5 new signings. And I'm afraid I don't really buy that, to be honest. I think we've seen from Chelsea, who've made mistakes in previous years by not strengthening. Liverpool, of course, have been guilty in the past of not strengthening in defence and in the goalkeeper positions. Of course, Liverpool have gone out and spent a lot of money. Man United continue to spend money, and Man City continue to spend money as well. And I think when your rivals are adding, talk there about Arsenal, I think are going to improve. It does put Chelsea and Spurs under a bit of pressure. So I'd be looking to see if they add any new players to their squads. And in the Chelsea situation, can they hold on to people like Hazard and Willian and Courtois? I think that's going to be a really big thing. Another team I think could struggle a bit is Leicester. They weren't having a great time under Puel towards the end of the season, and they've lost Mahrez, the star player. Is that going to impact Vardy? Probably you'd say it will. So I think Leicester may underachieve compared to their performance last year. So that's a little overview, I think, that'll kick us off, and I'll get back to the regular format once the season's underway. It allows me to actually analyse some of the matches and the players and give you a bit more accurate info. I finally just wanted to say to you all, thank you for the amazing reception that you've given to some of the stuff I've done over the summer. There's the stuff I did for the BBC, there's the articles that I've started writing for the Times. And I've been absolutely delighted with the reception that you've given to my FPL Masterclass, my Patreon site. I've literally been blown away with the amount of support for that. It's totally exceeded my expectations. So thank you. If you're interested in getting involved, head on over. It's patreon.com/FPL Masterclass. You can save a couple of quid. It basically debits your account by the pledge that you make on the 1st of the month. So if you're watching this and it's still in July and you want to save yourself a couple of quid and you can hang on, wait till August. But if you can't wait to see the content, there's a really, well, what I think is really good and what people have told me is really good, 25-minute tutorial there called Training for a Marathon, and it's all about how to prep for game week 1. If that's not your bag, like I said in the last video, I'm still going to be running these YouTube videos just like last season that are going to preview the game weeks a couple of days before the deadline. So hope that helps for now, and really looking forward to this season and working with you guys, and hope you'll have a great end to the summer. Cheers.